Tell me what you like, babe. And I don't know your name, don't know your name, but you can have anything, you can have anything. Take your number, follow your page, but I can't fuck with anything, I can't fuck with anything. Shy with me, just don't be shy. That's all you gotta say me. Hey Tyrell, Ty, how you doing, honey? Right. What's that? Brown with a knife. It's your birthday month. Happy birthday. You got plans? Jokey said happy birthday too. Aries, March 20th. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, that is it, yeah. Okay, March Aries. Buying a new car. Oh, that's interesting that you mentioned cars because that's exactly what I want to, or that's one of the things we'll be covering tonight. Because we're going to touch on that Uranus Gemini transit. But hey, Shine, Starla. And y'all, my cat be talking, so just, never mind that. My apologies up front. She sounds very human-like to the untrained ear. Mazda 100, period. Purr. Switch to turbo. Purr. Hey, Raina. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday. No, seriously, like, happy birthday. Everybody's just zipping it and doing it. All the Pisces and Pisceans and the Aries. Okay. Random, but snap. Random, but I just saw that America's Next Top Model documentary. Tyra Banks is the epitome of dark side of Sag. She is. I told you, like, when it comes to accountability, what do I say? Like, it's very hard to hold a Sagittarius accountable who doesn't already, like, if you're not somebody where that comes naturally to you, which, many can, but if you're not that type of person, good luck. Have you seen the documentary? I have not. I don't know, y'all, like, because I watched America's Next Top Model. But ugh, I kind of don't care for it. I mean, not I empathize with anybody who's been taken advantage of per se, but like I don't know. No, I just I don't. I'm a loss for words. I don't. Because I don't want to say I don't give a damn. I don't care, but because that was sounding sensitive and crazy, but I don't really care to watch it. I don't feel like I need to watch it. There we go. I don't feel like I need to watch that. It was toxic. I could believe it though, but that's like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm just that's it's always been that way though. It's I you know what it is. I think that with these different documentaries and the different things that are happening, I just feel like Gen Z is being educated or being shown certain things for the first time. But as somebody who I was literally a kid watching America's Next Top Model, like I was watching these things in real time. And although I didn't have the full context as a kid, I definitely understood, that it's the modeling industry, right along with the entertainment industry, Hollywood, is very toxic. Has been a very toxic one. A very, you know what I'm saying, like shame inducing one. So I mean, that don't really surprise me. And then Tyra Banks herself, she doesn't have she's, not a nice person. Or she doesn't come off that way. So none of these things surprise me. These new discoveries. Okay, so I wanted to touch on some themes, some of the main themes that are going on right now. Because we got a lot going on. But one of those things would be in terms of transits. We got a lot of things going on transit wise. So one of these transits I want to talk about specifically is this upcoming lunar nodal transit. Okay. So as you might know, we currently have transit in South Node in Virgo, transit in North Node in Pisces. The nodes are going to switch into Aquarius. So transit in North Node is going to be in Aquarius this year, with transit in South Node in Leo. So this is naturally going to create a lot of circumstances, like a lot of events that are going to be karmically tied to like the world leaders, so to speak. So the president, celebrities, expect a lot of either shocking news coming out about. It's kind of like honestly a continuation of what we're dealing with now, really, because transit and Pluto is in Aquarius. So at some point, transit and Pluto is also going to cross over and at some point be conjoined to that transit in North Node. So it's almost like a continuation of those themes with to the extreme. So in other words, I definitely see more world leaders dying. Now, if there's that one world leader in particular that people want off the map, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. So that could be possible during this transit, especially with Leo ruling the heart. So if transit in South Node is in Leo, right? Leo deals with presidents. Like I said, it could deal with even like monarchs and things like that. But it could also deal with, from like a health standpoint, the heart. And Donald Trump has his ascendant at the 29th degree of Leo. So he could have like a major car or experience a major cardiac event during this particular transit. You know what I'm saying? Is it just, we'll see how it shakes out, but Not Trump be home. Yeah, so that's another way that can manifest. Um, but yeah, a lot of drama playing out on the world stage, on a global stage. And so when I say drama, I mean obviously uh, 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 a continuation of this kind of new world order agenda, per that Pluto in Aquarius, and even more so with Aquarius on the North Node. Like, you know, think like we're literally living in unprecedented times. So these themes are going to be, or this fact is going to be even more evident come this transit. You know what I'm saying? Um, the rise of the collective, which is also reinforced with Pluto in Aquarius, like I said, in that Aquarius North Node. So this looks like a lot of the power being, I guess you could say a lot of the concentrated power, instead of being in the hands of like gatekeepers, which would be like that Leo energy, gatekeepers, the traditional power structures. Like I said, of course, monarchies, kingdoms, presidents, so on, so forth. You know, there's going to be a shift, like I said, in that power, where a lot of people collectively are going to start to want to kind of pull that power back, like in terms of like influence, which is very Pluto. Like, why do we allow these people to be the tastemakers of society? Why do we allow these people, kind of like the reason why you have celebrities making YouTube accounts and trying to stream, you know what I'm saying? That's very like Uranus. Especially Uranus with transiting Uranus in Gemini. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, streamers and shit like that. Like, everybody wants to stream. Everybody wants to be like an influencer. Everybody wants to utilize social media. That's just kind of where the future is, and that's where we're headed. So, you know, and that could be for better or for worse. Um, Creating artificial life is another theme that I see taking place with transit in South Node and Leo transit in North Node and Aquarius. Um, Leo deals with, like I said, the heart, the life force. And I've noticed that, like, this is where a lot of the corrupt elite and technocrats and a lot of like the pedophiles in our government and that run our society, hence that Pluto and Aquarius, there's going to be a lot of focus on them trying to find ways to extract the things that they want from children, or create or recreate, almost like playing God. And I'm not gonna go into it any deeper. Not on here. This ain't the platform to do it. But yeah, it kind of gives those vibes too. It gives those vibes too. So just kind of pay attention to media. There'll be certain events, global events, and things like that happen that reinforces this energy signature. Let's see what else. We got Uranus in Gemini. I guess we could start that. We could start Uranus in Gemini. Because some of the Uranus and Gemini themes kind of overlap with the nodal transits too. So, for example, with transiting Uranus and Gemini, there's going to be a lot of technological advancements, a lot of innovation. Okay. And this could be in the industries like the car industry, the when it comes to media and the way that we consume our media. When I look at Uranus and Gemini, I think of even like audiobooks. Like I said before, streaming, podcasting, these things becoming way. I mean, in a sense, they've been mainstream since like 2020, or like people have been doing them. But with Uranus and Gemini, they're gonna. It's kind of gonna bring forth. It's gonna advance that industry beyond what we've already experienced in a way that could actually be very beneficial to society. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things being made more convenient for us. That is, so there is a positive to it, yin yang. But the negative part is, it kind of just gives like very sci-fi, like the little dystopian sci-fi, like movies where like the artificial intelligence, like humanity kind of feeds that, and then the artificial intelligence ends up growing a life of its own, or growing a consciousness of its own. And I don't know, it sounds really strange, and I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but I just feel like, especially with Pluto and Aquarius on the North Node, we're going to experience. It's kind of like the what was that time period? So my history lovers, kind of like the industrial period, right? The industrial, when the America anyway, when the U.S. experienced the industrial period where people were building railroads, and all of these different industries were like boosting the economy. I feel like that's kind of, it's going to be a second surge of that. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to help the economy to, based on how fucked up our economy is per se, but in the sense that the world that we knew, like it's just no longer going to exist. And I hate to sound like this because it sounds so like doom and gloom and like and crazy, but like it's been a lot of shocking things that people have thought were crazy, or that people thought were conspiracy, that have turned out to be true. Um, and we're gonna get a lot more of that as well. Which brings me to the J files, if you know what I'm saying. Those files, the files. I'm trying to talk in code. Hey, Josie. Yes, Industrial Revolution. Thank you, Ear Hustler. But it's gonna square the dog shit out your Pisces still. Make sure you are taking care of like your breathing and stuff like that. Get you a nice like humidifier. Yes, those files. So okay, follow me. Uranus in Gemini deals with there being documentation made public, specifically via the internet. The e-files were made public on the internet, and the e-files are essentially all about the group of PDF files running the country, hence that Uranus theme. Okay. And Uranus, transiting Uranus, at some point is going to form a conjunction to Donald Trump's Uranus. Okay. And it's also going to touch his sun at some point. He's a Gemini sun and Uranus. All of this is happening in his 10th house. So expect more information coming out about those files, I would predict, with this Uranus and Gemini transit. But it also speaks to a lot of the perverted behavior he's allegedly or I mean, it's not really alleged, but you get what I'm saying. The behavior he's engaged in with children. The sun deals with children. He's a Gemini sun. Now, with all of this happening in his 10th house, though, the 10th house deals with censorship. So expect there to be a lot of censorship. Like him going out of his way to, when it comes to like traditional media, because Gemini rules media, you might as well forget about it. It's in his pocket. Okay. But yeah, in terms of him censoring things. So, and that could be another reason why people look for alternative um modes and ways to gain and get their information. Hence that Uranus and Gemini. There could be a complete, renaissance when it comes to literature, when it comes to communication, and just, society evolving in our thought process or intellectually. There could be a lot of good that comes from that. A lot of great writers coming about, a lot of great thinkers, a lot of geniuses, or what do people call it? The baby star seeds. The baby star seeds. So like children born around this time could have like like higher IQs, or more of an intellectual capacity. You know what I'm saying? Pluto opposition for DT. Well, Pluto would be opposing DT's ascendant at some point. I would actually have to like look it up to see exactly when, but at some point it is, because transiting Pluto is in Aquarius, so theoretically it would be opposing his. But you know what though? I don't even think he's gonna be around long enough to see that opposition go exact. But even if that opposition did go, I mean, specifically, if Pluto opposed his ascendant, that would definitely take him out. Like I said, probably via due to some type of cardiac or issue, some issue with his heart. And it makes sense that he might have to wear a splint in his heart. Intuitively I even got that, like an artificial device. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I could be wrong, but he does have that sun. He has his ascendant in Leo. Leo rules the heart, and then his sun is in that 10th house of Gemini, conjoined to his Uranus. That could be like, you know, some sort of device, some sort of device, some sort of technology based device that has to be used to like assist the circulation in your heart or some shit like that. Like, interesting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm even thinking about it in terms of his son opposing his uh, moon in Sagittarius. I'm wondering if like there's issues. Yeah, because Sagittarius deals with blood. So like issues with the blood flow in his heart. Hmm. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. This is just speculation. Purely speculation on my part. Well, it's about to square my ascendant in the fourth house. It doesn't always have to happen like that though. Sometimes like a harsh Pluto transit, like Pluto squaring your ascendant, of course depending on the sign, right? Um could just do, well, for me, I just was like, I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I was it was actually a very dark time. I was trying to cheer you up, but yeah, Pluto transits, harsh Pluto transits can be difficult, but they definitely test your resilience. Mm-hmm. Jay-Z name appeared in those files too, along with. Yeah, I can believe it. I can totally believe it. His Mars and Aquarius, he was all up in it. What you mean? What you mean? Yeah, he was born on a, well, actually I don't know if he was born on the east. Yeah, I guess he was if Sun is in opposition to the moon, but um let me see. Cause yeah, this is an exact time for him. So yeah, he was born on an eclipse. That's why that nigga crazy. Well, that's one of the reasons. But so anyway, in terms of this Gemini or Uranus and Gemini transit, some other things that could come out of this would be humanity becoming enlightened. But one thing that I am noticing is that everything is like up for debate. Like there's a tendency to rationalize everything with Uranus and Gemini. And I don't like it. Because then we start rationalizing shit that should not be rationalized. Hence, like, it's people that really come online and are really trying to push for a PDF. It's like a valid lifestyle. Or, when somebody shares a piece of news, you can see something that's happening right in front of you online. Like, hence that Uranus energy, right? You can look on social media and somebody, like a situation can be happening clear as day, but people are going to like focus on like oh, there's two sides to every story. You know what I'm saying? There's always like when Donald Trump said alternative facts, that's why he has his natal Uranus in Gemini. And he even said alternative facts. Like, and that's how he lives his life, doing double speak. He'll say this and that. And then people will just go with whatever is most convenient. The argument that's most convenient. Hence Uranus and Gemini at the time. And some of this even piggybacks on, like I said, that Pluto in Aquarius transit, in the sense of like groupthink being really high as well. Like people engaging in a lot of it. So there being robots, holograms, and when I say robots, I mean like even little, robots even like for everyday tasks. Like I think we're gonna start seeing more like promotion of those materials, those different inventions. Like I said, it's gonna be all about making things convenient. And on that note, even when it comes to transportation, it kind of puts me in the mindset too of like there being more of a push to increase like public transportation, or there being like more advanced ways to get from point A to point B. Having like self-driving cars, or high-tech cars. Yeah, AI on steroids. Exactly. Yes, ma'am. Exactly. With the current transit, do you see what the motive was to release the files? Let me take a look and see what the current transits are. Give me just a second before I lose my thought. Gemini or Uranus and Gemini could also create or bring about major things when it comes to friendships, our acquaintances, the people that we hang out with, the people we align ourselves with. And depending on like where this is falling in your chart, there could be issues with like betrayal in these areas, or just the tendency to kind of, what's the word? To engage in a lot of casual relationships with people. And this doesn't necessarily just have to be romantically. This could be like maybe somebody who doesn't have one set friend group or something like that. Or, you know. Issues with air quality. Issues with air quality. Or there could be some sort of technology advancement or some sort of invention that could be created to help improve this, is also a prediction. Let's see what else. Contrarian culture, counterculture. This is like, what do you call it? It's a term that I heard. It's almost like postmodernism. That's what it is. Uranus and Gemini is going to really bring about and reinforce this theme of like postmodernism and its grasp across society. I'm ready for teleportation to be invented. So is Yoki. Ain't that right, girl? True, yeah, true, yeah. Sounds like Futurama. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I covered everything. More themes of socialism is going to be kind of not advertised, but kind of like collectively. That's kind of where society is going to start leaning towards, right? And it makes sense. We're under a dictatorship, and everything's falling apart. And as a result, people want relief. People want, and the whole point of socialism speaks to the fact that you know everybody kind of pulls together to help support one another, kind of thing. You don't have industries that are for profit, like healthcare, you know what I'm saying? Education. But due to propaganda, socialism has kind of become a bad word in the US. But, things like free breakfast, which was, created by or brought forth by the Black Panthers, by the way. But, free breakfast, free school lunch, driving down the roads, socialism. Don't our taxes pay for those? So, you know what I'm saying? Now, the 1984 Orwell's concept of the future. Shout out to Rabina because she actually mentioned this. That when Uranus is in Gemini, that's a major theme that can really come to the forefront. Like our society could actually mimic that 1984 Orwell's conception of the future. Let me pull up like a little excerpt from that. We'll see. Hold on. Let me see something. So 1984 is a book. Okay. It's a dystopian speculative fiction novel by the English writer George Orwell. It was published on June 8th, 1949. Let me share my screen actually. Hold on. So y'all can see what I see. Yeah. Okay. So okay, y'all can see it. So yeah, it was published on June 8th, which is so interesting because June 8th is Gemini season. And with this being a direct reflection of this Uranus Gemini transit. Y'all see how that kind of like y'all see that's crazy. Um but by Secker and Warburg as Orwell's ninth and final completed book, thematically it centers totalitarian totalitarian totalitarianism. Okay, totalitarianism. That would be represented by Pluto and Aquarius. Okay, mass surveillance and repressive regimentation of people and behaviors. So, like, with Uranus and Gemini, like that's the government like collecting our data. You know, we have like live personal libraries online. You know what I'm saying? Or where they can what like the data centers. I can see there being an expansion of data centers with Uranus and Gemini. And in these data centers, they're collecting everybody's. Hey man, don't get me started. This is a Patreon conversation. Good night, Angel of Power, Beauty. Thank, thank you for joining me. But so yeah, let's see. This story takes place in a fictional future. Y'all, y'all want to do like a book club? If y'all want to read, I kind of want to read 1984 because I've never read it. I feel like this would be a good. It would be a good idea for my patrons to read, for us to read and to discuss how these things. Yep, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Yeah, yeah. Want food. I need that. I need that. And this is very fitting with this Uranus and Gemini. So book clubs, online book clubs, astrology book clubs. I'm so excited. Uranus and Gemini. I should do like a Uranus and Gemini book club. And the first book we're gonna read is 1984. So y'all let me know if y'all want to participate. Just sign up for my Patreon. It'll probably be the second tier. But just sign up. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can make it. You down? Okay, cool. Okay, I'll make a post. I'll post to the community tab, you know, and place all of the links, you know, give you all the information you need, and then the date to have the book by. No, the date that you need to have and actually have read the book by. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Will people be telling on themselves more with that transit? Well, you can look at it like that, but people are going to be doing a lot of contradicting themselves as well. Like I said, engaging in double speak is very Uranus and Gemini. always arguing the contrary. Like I said, people making arguments or really trying to rationalize. Like y'all really do know they're trying to rationalize PDFs. That's crazy to me. Just trying to normalize shit that's not normal. Okay, but let me get back on task. So the story takes place in a fictional future. The current year is uncertain, but believed to be 1984. Much of the world is in perpetual war. And that's another thing with Pluto and Aquarius. I hate to say it, but like, especially with on the North Node, it's giving like atomic bomb vibes. I ain't gonna lie. They find different ways to kill people. And that's also very Uranus and Gemini coming out with some. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they being like the government, you know, deploying more advanced weapons and things like that, like futuristic weapons that like, you know, there's one that like attacks it vaporizes the air or heats up the air, and then everybody just kind of drops because they can't. I don't know. It's some next level shit. So it's gonna be. Unfortunately, when we have these tools of intelligence, they run the risk of falling into the hands of the wrong person, the wrong people acquiring power. Hence that Pluto and Aquarius. And that does have its cost. That does have its cost. It does, unfortunately. And then with Saturn and Aries too, that made me think like the minute Saturn went into Aries, now all this other shit happening too. Like Aries can deal with war. With Saturn and Aries, you know, with this transit, there's gonna expect a lot of government sanctioned violence, war, and this could be internationally and domestically. You know what I'm saying? Like Trump and them is putting the squeeze on niggas. The squeeze. Witchy books too? Okay, got you. Okay, let me write that down. Okay. Witchy books. Okay. Witchy books. Boom shakalaka. And y'all know I'm actually in a book club at work too. Like I don't know well I do know what it is. I have my North Node in the third house, but the issue is my Neptune is also in the third house, and that shit's squaring everything I got. So it's like I am actively working on ways to act like what do you call it? Expand my attention span. So that because my thing is like I'll start reading and not finish it, or like start something and get distracted. And I actively have to, you know, push myself or challenge myself, come up with different ways to kind of, you know, different techniques, you know, ways I can train my brain, so to speak, to like get through reading a book or even listening. Like I said, to an audiobook, I listen to audiobooks, especially while I'm at work. Cause you know what I'm saying? You like occult books? Tully! I meant to shout you out earlier. Like my brain just registered. Like you showed up to the function. Hey Lilith. So yeah, if y'all are just now joining me, I've been talking about the transits. Pretty much a you know crash course of all the transits. Damn near. You know, we started with transiting North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo, and now we're discussing Uranus in Gemini. Okay. Hold on, let me make sure I got everything But yeah, we definitely have to read 1984 because this shit looks so interesting. But I keep like, see what I'm saying? I can't even finish reading the damn Wikipedia article. Hold on, let me redirect myself before we move further. Um, yeah, the current year is uncertain, believed to be 1984. Much of the world is in perpetual war. Great Britain, now known as Airstrip 1, has become a province of the totalitarian superstate Oceania, which is led by a big brother, a, dict- a dictatorial leader supported by an intense cult of personality. Y'all, this sound like today. Man, wait, hold on, Holiday. That shit just sent the chill down my spine. Who is this nigga, bro? Who's the author, bro? How does he know this? Hey, that nigga must be in the e files, cause how that was too spot on. But it's which is led by Big Brother, a dictator leader supported by an intense cult of personality manufactured by the party's thought police, and that ties back into that conjunction. And let me share Donald Trump's chart. This thought policing, that's this Sun Uranus conjunction in Trump's chart in this 10th house. Because remember when I said that the 10th house deals with censorship, and then Gemini is like ideas. Uranus and Gemini is like people's ideas and opinions. You know what I'm saying? Especially like on the internet and shit. They will be silenced. That's crazy. And like, yeah, like surveilling people's opinions, surveilling people's like thoughts. Like the government taking a look at all, like even like the comments they would say online. Even me talking right now. Hey y'all, I got shit to live for. So y'all ain't, you know what I'm saying? Don't watch me. But yeah, like people being under surveillance. There being a lot of censorship going on. And that's another factor that could be like pressuring people to succumb to groupthink. You know what I'm saying? Because the ones who are not conforming, they are a part of the out group, and the out group is always going to be demonized. And the issue with Uranus and Gemini, while is Uranus going to be in Gemini while Pisces is on the south node, y'all? Let me check and see. But if so, the theoretical issue with that would be like propaganda. You know what I'm saying? So much censorship going on. They like, the government creating whatever narratives that they want us to take and run with. Which makes sense too, because they trying to start more war and shit. But really, they kind of don't give a fuck, like, to manufacture consent. Not that much. Not they just do what the fuck they want. But yeah, so that's crazy. That's so. The party engages in an omnipresent government surveillance, and through the Ministry of Truth, historical negationism. Hey man, I feel like Webby at that Breakfast Club interview. Shalom, damn, y'all got some names on y'all. And the constant propaganda to persecute individuality and independent thinking. So all of this is very Uranus and Gemini. Orwell described his book as a satire in the display of the perversions, hence Uranus, the perversions to which a centralized economy is liable, while also stating that he believed that something resembling it could arrive. And he was correct. The novel examines the role of truth and facts within societies and the ways in which they can be manipulated. Parallels have been drawn between the novel and real world totalitarianism, mass surveillance, and violations of freedom of expression, among other things. So there's that. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I got everything out. Let's see. I talked about the socialism, advancements. Oh, advancement to the phone industry. A push to make phones, like I said, even more convenient, and to get us to get to a point where we do everything on our phones. So yeah, I even heard one day somebody was talking about, that the government has been floating the concept of like putting your ID on your phone, like having to have your ID on your phone. I don't like that. But that's very Uranus and Gemini. Would y'all do something like that? How would you feel like where you have to like or if you want to like sign up for like a subscription, an app or something, you gotta put your like social security in, you gotta put your upload your driver's license. That's like on the internet. Me not like that. Another pitfall of Uranus and Gemini is information overload. So everything being right before us at our fingertips. To where it's like, how much are you actually retaining? That's where media literacy is extremely important. Okay. And so then we talked about Saturn and Aries going to war, government sanctioned violence and crackdowns, conflict within government. Um, Saturn and Aries wants us to get acquainted with pain. So I mean, yeah, that's right, girl. True, true. Fires, bombs, shootings. Unfortunately, I feel like there could be more of these events taking place. I don't like it, but I've been into Chat GPT, and that's just as bad. Please stop. That's also very Uranus and Gemini. People talking to them Chat GPT, like you're talking to a app or you're talking to an AI, man. Y'all better be careful with that shit. People, man, crashing out. I don't know. Absolutely. Like I said, Pluto in Aquarius can even bring about like nuclear war. Like you know what I'm saying? So yes. And to be real with y'all, that's why I haven't really like gotten too deep into the things. Just because, that shit is depressing. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for. So, they said they have three missiles pointed at you. Listen, They probably do, honey. And I just, you know, do we have to go to work? Do we still have to go to work tomorrow? That's right. That's right, Yogi. So, okay, y'all. So I can't stay too long tonight, but I just wanted to hop on and discuss those main transits because, that was basically, I've been getting a lot of people saying they wanted me to discuss Uranus and Gemini, touch on Saturn and Aries, and then, the node. So, yeah, y'all be on the lookout. Like I said, I've been more consistent, so I'll be back soon. And we'll get into some things. We're gonna get into some things, okay? I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with me. It really means a lot to me. It really does. I love y'all. All right, y'all. Have a good week. Take care. Good night.